process we installed the monitor. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, next up is going to be DEQ time.
A little taller than John. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. I always appreciate the opportunity to be here and present or be available for questions. I am Tom Killeen, the Inspection Division Administrator for DEQ. And our mission out here hasn't changed since day one, a year and 8 months ago. We have a daily interaction and anywhere from 12 to 15 inspectors that routinely come out here and conduct the air and water monitoring that we've done from the beginning. As I said, our primary mission is to provide environmental monitoring, ambient monitoring of air and water for human health and environmental protection. Ellie, since the onset of this, we have not detected air or water contaminants at levels or durations of concern. You'll see on the next slide or two, we probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of 40,000 data points that we've collected since the beginning of this. In the beginning, when we did from time to time get a hit, it was primarily related to wind direction coming off the sinkhole when the sinkhole was still bubbling a lot of hydrocarbon. My guys tell me that they don't smell the same odors that they did previously, and our experience from going onto the property and surveying the containment and the sinkhole is that obviously it's not burping hydrocarbons at the rate, anywhere near the rate that it did initially. And we do take a very active role in the containment apparatus system around the sinkhole itself. We have worked with Incident Command and DNR and Texas Brine to make sure that a new south berm, an alternative, a backup south berm was initiated because we all felt, the agencies, Incident Command felt, that the south berm that was in place was failing. You know, it had significant cracks in it, a lot of subsidence, certain aerial photos of it, you know, you could really see the subsidence, and it fell along those contour lines where it was supposed to subside. So we pushed very hard and agreed as agencies that in no uncertain terms that existing south berm would not be sufficient and a new one would have to be formed between the existing one and Bayou Corn. And if we have any, you know, if the existing one does fail or there's any subsidence on the new one, then the procedures for relocating Bayou Corn would commence. It's going to be more of a step-by-step process. Right now, the existing south berm is holding, and the new south berm is still under construction. I don't think it's finished yet. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these, but we have gathered a huge amount of data since we've been out here. And it primarily consists of the air monitoring of the bubble sites, and I know the new bubble site we can't get to exactly, but any time we would be in Grand Bayou, we would monitor over it also. But we're taking readings on the side, on the banks of this most recent one. And of course, originally we were conducting as a reference water sampling in Bayou Lafourche, just as a background or reference sample. We don't even do that anymore. it wasn't telling us anything. And in the beginning, as many of you recall, we got permission to go in and do indoor air monitoring on a requested basis. And there were 52 residences that we did conduct that monitoring, and that was kind of a stopgap until the indoor air monitors were installed. And we were happy to do that. That's not something we normally do, but we were certainly happy to do that. And at the same time, of course, we were also monitoring the ambient air around the residences. We did radiation surveys, and back in May of 2013, we actually went out onto the facility and did another radiation monitoring survey. And I think the well number 2, the one designated at 002, did have an elevated reading, slightly elevated over the 1991 level. It was still pretty low, but the company did have to resubmit an updated form to DEQ, which it did within the month. In our air monitoring lab, as many of you will see over at the command center, we get it out there about 5 or 6 days a month. Its time is divided up quite a bit now. It's spent the last couple of weeks at that Acadia well blowout, and it's, as you might imagine, it's more or less in demand all over the state, so it gets a lot of miles on it. And it does, when it's here, it continuously monitors from the time we set it up on Thursday till the time we come get it, I believe, on Tuesday. And again, it's analyzed, a couple of thousand data points in that time. It did get a few hits in the beginning, but that was when the hydrocarbons were blowing off of the surface of the sinkhole itself. Now, at this time, in September of 2013, we did issue Texas Brine a general permit, an emergency discharge permit for the water that was being gathered through the vent wells. We were not going to allow them to, this is just shallow groundwater. It's not processed. It hasn't been treated with anything. It's just the water that was being recovered from the passive vent wells. But we did require them to seek a permit to handle the water, and we required them to take that water and route it and discharge it into the contained area of the sinkhole. They have slightly elevated chloride levels and TDS, total dissolved solid, levels in the groundwater itself. So it's not anything that was done to it. That's the shallow groundwater in that area has elevated levels. But we did have them discharged to the sinkhole. That's a 6-month permit. We required them, if they were going to continue to want to gather or discharge any type of water, excuse me, they were going to have to do it through an LPDES permit, an individual permit. So about a week or two ago, they did submit a completed application for a water discharge permit. We have it. It's under technical review right now. This is an individual permit, so it will go out on public notice. There will be a public comment period related to it, and subsequent to all of that, we expect it would be finalized maybe within 6 months, assuming that we get comments and feedback on it. And of course, these are the links that most of you all are familiar with. The third one, I try to make sure that all the data we gather is uploaded to our website. On DEQ's main page, we have a Bayou Corn button, and we try to get all the information uploaded to it as quickly as we can when the data does come in. This is just a picture from a previous presentation. And it kind of goes back, this goes way back, that's the area that we had to abandon in January of 2013, Bobby, the facility. But it just sort of shows the hydrocarbons that were present in the beginning that were creating a lot of the odors, that were giving us some of the VOC hits. And we don't see, the surface of the sinkhole doesn't look like this anymore.
That's just a picture about what you all see whenever you drive past Sportsman's Way there. And then this is just our guys in the water, and then
Our guys in the residences collecting samples, they're out there 3 or 4 days a week still. That's it. So, questions?